Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Really exciting to see where we are after some of the heavy lifting that we've been doing since the past year and so forth. I call the IDEA TV the innovation television. Actually, this came out of the work that we've been doing over the years, supporting research and innovation on the continent, in the whole of Africa. As we were doing this, it became very, very clear that we need to better communicate science. We need to better communicate innovation. Science journalism is very well documented, very well established. But unfortunately, we also don't have a lot of it in Africa. So I have a very broad understanding of the need of, importance of television in communicating science. Obviously, I'm not a journalist, not worked in the media, but I do know that we need advocacy, communication, the media, to advance innovation, science, technology in the continent of Africa. So in addition to the work we are doing on establishing the IDEA University, by the way, IDEA stands for Innovation Development and Entrepreneurship Africa. We felt that it would be excellent to also have a media instrument actually to support the whole concept. And that was how IDEA Television was born. It's really gratifying to see where we are today, just looking at all the gadgets you guys have around. We've managed to put them all together, thanks to you and other colleagues for making that happen. So it's a very exciting time, and I couldn't be happier to actually talk about this in a in addition to the work we have done in other parts of the world, it was very, very clear when we started working in Africa that we needed a mechanism really to communicate. I think that what I bring is really what you are saying here. I'm hoping that this is the first innovation television on the continent, in Nigeria. And it's a very exciting time. I couldn't be happier despite all the challenges that we have faced in getting where we are today. Honestly, I'm hoping that we can bring some of those experiences that we have acquired, learning from my colleagues. I'm not a journalist, but I've had the opportunity, the honor of working with some of the best advocacy and communication experts in the world. I've learned from them. They've also learned from me. When I speak to some of my legal friends at a stage, I had several lawyers actually working in my department. So really helping to shape the tone. In the early 2000, I think 2001, we had the pleasure of working with some law firms in America to establish partnership modalities on how to manage intellectual property for innovation. And today, that is really the norm today. It's been adopted as the framework. So I'm hoping to bring some of those experiences through this television work, through this, the IDEA TV work. Another thing we also bring, which is coming through the university, is to hopefully change minds. We need a new framework. We need universities that can innovate. We need research-based universities. We need universities that will partner with industry to translate ideas, innovations from the lab into the market. This does not exist on the continent right now. So it is that unique perspective of understanding the innovation value chain that we bring, that we want to communicate through this television, and also teach people the practicalities of this through the university. Called MMV, one of the early public-private partnerships involved in drug development. And the goal of such partnerships was really to leverage public funding to incentivize industry, to fund industry so that they can bring their technologies, their know-how, their infrastructure to support drug development for tropical diseases. Remember, for diseases that disproportionately affect developing countries, there are no market incentives to drive innovation. So that's why we don't have the essential drugs, be them for malaria, schistosomiasis, filariasis, onchocerciasis, and so forth. So the world established this pattern. I was fortunate. I was one of the directors in charge of research and innovation. And today, through those partnerships with industry, you have a drug like Coartem funded by the Medicine for Malaria Venture in collaboration with Novartis in Switzerland. So partnership goes to the heart of what I believe and of the work we have done. At the World Health Organization, I came up with the concept of innovation networks, which we have actually published, that resulted in the African Networks for Drugs and Diagnostics Innovation. And we also have an ASEAN network in Asia and in the Americas. I helped to establish all this within the World Health Organization. What was driving this were really the critical understanding that partnerships is the way to go. If you look at drug development, you look at a company like Pfizer, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, they have departments, they do research, they put in hundreds of millions of US dollars to discover one drug. It is estimated that discovering a drug, say cancer, cardiovascular disease, costs over $1 billion. We don't have that kind of funding here. So when we were working for drugs for malaria and so forth, the only way forward was to establish partnerships and networking. And it was that same mindset that when I was establishing the IDEA television, I got to know of the work of the Ministry of Science and Technology through NASDRA, their television work on the NSTI TV, that they had a license. I was already trying to put together the IDEA television, actually doing some online streaming to communicate innovation. So because of my partnership hat, I got introduced. We signed an MOU. We started. And very exciting times, NASDRA was supposed to provide the infrastructure for this. But moving forward, actually, we were very fortunate we could provide this infrastructure, but because it turns out that there was no infrastructure. To cut a long story short, that partnership started. We've had some challenges, but we are moving forward. But I can tell you that partnerships is at the center of IDEA TV. The goal here is to partner with academic institutions in Nigeria, with research institutions, communicate what they are doing, help them to really teach or tell their story, but importantly, to reach out to young people, secondary school students, primary school students, to tell them about the importance of science, technology, and innovation. And the goal here is that through this mechanism, we can actually begin to think of moving from resource-based economy to knowledge-based economy, knowledge-based economic development. So this is really critical. As we speak now, most of the innovations coming out of our universities, research institutions are not getting to the market. because there are no industry partnerships to actually take them forward. Academic institutions cannot take products to the market. It's very difficult. You need industry. Industry is the biggest funder of research in the world. So we need to communicate this. We need to teach this. And we need to change policy to support some of this work. So partnership goes to the heart of what we're doing. We cannot do it alone. We are inviting government agencies, universities, research institutions, international organizations to come and work with us to actually take this thing for programs. And each of those programs will actually address some of the issues you are talking about. We'll have programs that bring universities together to talk about their work, to talk about the needs for partnership, to talk about the needs to really translate their innovations to the market and what is missing. We have programs for research institutions, we have programs for entrepreneurs, we have programs for children, we have programs for the informal sector. Harness local innovation, the importance of science, the importance of research, and how to take this forward. We are going to be discussing the value chain for innovation. How you take stuff from the lab to the market. And it was not a mistake that I invested time, energy, and resources to publish the Social and Technological Innovation book in 2021, right? And the goal was to share lessons on what we have experienced over the years and to explore how this can actually help the African continent and my country, Nigeria, to also navigate some of these things. But the disappointing part of that is that this book is in over 15,000 libraries around the world, being used in some of the best universities in the world, people inviting me to give talks all over the world, but not from Africa. It also shows you how poorly developed our library system is. Because there's no money to actually acquire these books. You cannot innovate without putting resources. You cannot own innovations without financing. So we are going to be teasing out some of these issues and hopefully discuss with our policymakers, our researchers, our institutions, our teachers, our entrepreneurs, and hopefully I want to do it right. The goal here is really to create the best television house, in the country, on the continent. It doesn't have to be as big as some of the existing television houses. We are not competing with some of those excellent television houses, be them NTA, Arise, channels. These are excellent. We are starting small. The vision is to have the best equipment that we can have for any television house. State-of-the-art equipment to actually do this work. So that is the vision. And we have been quite deliberate in acquiring some of this equipment. If you go to our studio, you will find some of those equipment. I also think that we are now building the best teams that we can build for this kind of work. I'm very, very proud of the work all of you are doing. I think we are trying to do something, and I have tried to challenge you all. And most times you tell me about how things are done in the media houses. Yes, we need to do things the way they are done, but we need to bring innovation. Is that innovation that we're interested in, that I'm interested in? When I was doing drug development for malaria, we asked the question. It costs between $500 million to $1 billion to develop a drug. If we want to develop a drug for malaria or schistosomiasis, where are we going to find that kind of money? Through innovation, we come out with this network approach. And we drove the cost of drug development down to, fractions of that amount. And they're all well documented and well written. So IDEA TV is small. We want to start small and grow. We are not a conventional television, and I will continue to challenge you guys about this. And we have made a lot of progress. Look at the equipment we have. We've done all this under very difficult circumstances. But I think that the future is bright. There's a lot of interest now in what we're trying to do. Many people are trying to come in to work with us, and we welcome them. So my vision is really a very bold IDEA television that can go out and communicate science, technology, innovation, that is not involved in partisan politics, that will engage policymakers and help us really drive home innovation. A television that will help to nurture our young minds. A television that gives opportunity to the younger population of this continent. And a television house that discusses innovation. So I asked myself that question: what is the role of IDEA TV in this kind of thing? And the way I see this is that IDEA TV has a very critical role to play. And that role is really then talking to our innovation institutions, research institutions, heads of institutions, trying to tease out what they think about this protest, how this protest is affecting their work, their research, and so forth. Talking to our policymakers, trying to understand their thinking about this problem. What does this mean for financing for innovation? You see, we think of supporting young people, but we should also think of supporting these young people who are in science, technology, innovation, who are in research. Sometimes we miss this opportunity. So our role is all carved out for us. Think about a situation where, you are talking to a student at a university during that protest, talking to this student about his or her project, her science project, how this is affecting that program, how the current economic situation is actually affecting the work that is being done at the university or at the institute. So I will help you to carve out that niche. I'm sure that you know how to do it. I think you've already developed a program on this, but I think there is a unique opportunity there. I was in our studio during that period. And actually I visited one or two institutions. Nothing was going on. So I think it would have been a great opportunity, and I'm hoping that the opportunities are endless for us to then go to this institution and send you the channels. We want you really to invest a lot of time watching us and working with us, not just watching us. We want partnerships. We want you to participate. We have a lot of exciting programs that we'll be rolling out. We'll be rolling out our website. You can visit it. We have a lot of young people. We have about 8 youth corpers now joining us. People doing their internships here. We are just less than 6 months old. So very, very exciting times. So stay tuned. We have everything for everybody. Okay, young people, professors, researchers, policymakers, and so forth. I don't want to promote it too much. I want you, the viewers, to tell us